Well, as hostilities between Israel and Iran continue into a seventh day, oil prices have risen up more than 1% on world markets. Jonathan Lamb is an oil and gas analyst at the finance and investment group Wood & Company. Jonathan, welcome. Good to see you. So oil prices creeping up. How high do you think they might climb?
The answer to that is rather binary. What the markets are worried about is if exports of crude from the Arabian Gulf were to stop because the Straits of Hormuz were closed, then the impact on oil prices could be extremely high indeed. Remember that Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates all export through the Straits of Hormuz, and where oil prices could go without that supply is anybody's guess. $150, $200 a barrel could be possible. If that does not happen, then we're probably simply looking at a little bit of panic, and oil prices will go back down to the levels that they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's a very wide range there, but there's really, I think, only two outcomes.
Give us a bit of context here, because we have been here before over the decades. I mean, in context, what kind of oil shock might we be looking at compared to what we've been through in the past?
I mean, some of the biggest oil shocks we've seen in the past have come from the loss of large oil exporting countries. For example, the Iraq-Kuwait war. That led to a great big spike in oil prices. But the spikes tend to be temporary, because the world finds a way to get around the loss of the barrels over time. The problem is, in the meantime, because you have very high oil prices, the impact on global economy tends to be quite significant. And so even if it's short term, it could be quite costly for all of us.
We keep on talking about the rise of renewables around the world. I mean, does this now mean in 2025 that we are perhaps less dependent on oil than in previous energy crises?
We shouldn't forget that renewables is mainly about producing electricity. And the one place that they replace oil is in electric vehicles. So if a larger proportion of our vehicle park were electric vehicles, then that would be the case. Despite the very, very rapid rise of EVs and the rapid increase in sales, in terms of the overall vehicle park, even in countries like Norway or China, where they're ahead of the rest of us, is still actually quite small. And the most vital part of the oil economy, if you like, is actually the heavy goods vehicles. And there we haven't got any replacements at all.
I mean, governments around the world might be clearly deeply concerned about yet another cost of living crisis. Do national governments have enough policy tools left, like strategic reserves or price caps, to try to soften any blow? Or are we entering a new, more vulnerable period?
Well, in theory, all members of the International Energy Agency, which are the OECD countries, are required to carry 30 days of strategic stocks. That can be either crude oil or refined products. So, in theory, if we had no new crude oil for 90 days, we would still be able to carry on as usual. Obviously, there would be pricing issues, but there are plans in place to deal with these kind of things. Even though it's expensive, I think the world would carry on working. The issue with price caps is, we've seen in the past, they tend to make the situation worse. So in the oil crisis of the 70s, we actually had petrol stations in America running out gasoline because they had the price cap. So that's something that the government should be very wary of using, I think.
Jonathan, good to see you. Thank you for that. Jonathan Lamb, the oil and gas analyst at the finance and investment group Wood & Company.
Thank you very much.